enunciate leaving the home life to homelessness. It's the new culture from the Indian civilization that as a human being who look for liberation means to look for the real freedom. Freedom from the body and the mind. Overcome the stress. And suffering. First, we knowing that is a lot of perception. The mind will easy to cling or ideal. The mind will easy to cling, so that all this clinging in the mental part will let the mental lacks of his own freedom. The second part is when the mind is not concentrate, means he run around in the senses contact, bring the information into the mind. So that kind of fabrication of thought the mind will be blocked from time to time. As all this memory going on in the mind pop up, all this we call it monkey mind. So monkey mind become hindrance for the freedom of mind. So how to overcome memory that not concentrate but grabbing a lot of perception, become great hatred, restlessness, sleepiness, drowsiness, and all this we call it hindrance. Without trainings, mindful to an object, in order that not let the mind run around, let the mind become stabilized, feeling little bit about calmness, about joyful of concentrate. Not much you can do for your mind if you carry on process into mental grabbing, sensual grabbing. Eventually that habitual pattern you cannot fulfill. Only by purifying the mind it makes sense. When the Buddha time, a lot of yogi in the self-awakening, not rely in other power, especially the God's power, but reflecting back into this more human nature, mind and body. This is the foundation, what we can base it on here to the training. So yogi have a lot of training in discipline the body, come into the concentrate on mind, in order that after the mind is stabilized, unshakable, strong and steady, from there it observes something. What is the meaning of exterior phenomena? What is the meaning of this physical phenomenon? And what is the meaning of mental phenomena? So he found that all these phenomena, the reality is mind is not aware and grabbing something, no matter form or exterior form or physical form or mental phenomenon. When you're not aware and grabbing it, processing, it becomes attachment and you lost your own freedom. You just been pulled out to the side, not in the path. So the side is one in the big flooding of sensual attachment, form attachment. One is in the fire, stressful, unsatisfactoriness of hunger and burning there with anger. So all the negative side or positive side, two sides. One is big fire, one is big flooding. So mind-free is the yogi who look for how to experience this mind detachment, in order that in the very moment this mind is not have anything grabbing. So he named that not have anything grabbing as the word non-self, not self, or selfless. Even though the emptiness, he used that kind of new perception from the reform of religion. A new religion come out called self-awakening. So after this, the yogi new insight of life release. The whole life is released from all this fear, worry and attachment, so come to a new movement. So he formed his own assembly. That is monasticism from Indian civilization. So monasticism, or form the monastery, a new assembly, try to sharing this new teaching of truth. Share it with all human beings. So human beings himself have the body and mind. You only need to observe and do is from this observation of the body and mind. Try to do something right. So what is right? Name it. The right path of Noble Eightfold Path. From right view, right contemplation, right speed, right achieve, right livelihood, right action, right diligence, right mindfulness, come to right concentration. So name it in this Noble Eightfold Path. Noble is because of release from grabbing. The path means fixing to the goals of liberation. Means the fruit for you walking to this path is the taste of freedom. So Buddhism come to renunciate, come to take a monastic life, is not running away from the society, but it is another new way of approach, applying into practice and train this body and mind in order that the mind will be more disciplined. Discipline means action in some right action in order that reducing that wrong action bring in a lot of side effect. So Buddhism talk about action and react, means cause and effect. All action have its own effect or the fruit. Means wrong speed, eventually the fruit of wrong speed is you hurt yourself and you hurt others, and others will distant from you and you lost a friendship. That is the effect of the wrong word, what we say, wrong food. You eat some food that and not become food, not nutrite this very body with energy, but it just become poison and make large of condition to hurt this body eventually. So we call it wrong thing. So Eightfold Path is the path in Buddhism that create this condition to support the training of mind and body. No matter you are Buddhist or you are non-Buddhist, I have that from time to time, especially when you grow up. Maybe in the young age, because you have a wrong friend who sharing the drug with you, cigarette, alcohol, and other material that excited your mind. You don't know your experience, but eventually will give up. If you don't give up, this life will be destroyed. So they have something that called right and wrong. So monastic is choosing the life that provide a lot of teaching support by the awakening of this religious elder. We call that from the yogi tradition. So the Buddha himself is a yogi. Yogi means that he's going to have a lot of self-reflection and build up this very life new habitual pattern in the thinking, in the speaking, and in the body conduct. Before he adjusts himself, he cannot help others properly. So after he got a more deeper self-reflection and insight glow in his mind, he got the freedom. Then he can show that freedom with others. The freedom is from self-release from stress. So monastic life is not run away from the society. There's no way we can run away from the society to look for freedom. We just take our life into a corner of the society in order that reducing the active involved into society too much, in order that we pull back a lot of time and energy so that we focus in something that more important in order to attach place the new foundation of life, in order that this life being upright, then we can strengthen ourselves and help others better. So a new monastic come into the assembly. What is the assembly is? Means the elder for this tradition, generation after generation. We have some skill. We have a very accurate of the teaching, carry on from generation to generation. Help you to learn, help you to train, in order that make sure this life will be built up in a good education and good engineer skill of bring this mind and body into his right, this righteousness, so that he don't make mistake, in order that mind and body lost his freedom. So that is called monastic training. I remember my life when I was 20, come into Buddhism. The first day I did my arm and bow, come to the street in Indian tradition. And every morning you just go to the street and look for your own food. You don't cook food. You don't cook food. Just look for the food. And before that, you already observe all the monks in the street and get the food. When you come back, the older monk would say that Do you see that? Can you observe? Just sure. Yes, I observe. Okay. Keep observing. Try to get the skill of arm round of training. I see everything. I thought I know. But when the elder sharing with me, then, oh, it's not what I can observe and knowing. I learned a new thing, because when you observe, you can only observe the bodily conduct. You cannot observe his mental conduct, because your observe is not sharp into the mind. So that the elder will be try to sharing with you, because you are novice, you are a newcomer, a new coming into this assembly. So he will say that, oh, when you take your arm step by step, you observe your body, observe the body movement all the time with the body of mindfulness. So when you carry a bowl, you carry it with your hand, mindful your rope. When you are walking, discipline this body. And then when you walk, then make sure your mindful is in the footstep, because you're barefoot, so walking by mindful. If the thorn come into the skin, you know it, and then you release it and pull back, you know, so that you won't get hurt. If you're not mindful to rough like an elephant, then problem. So that I learned, oh, walking is every step mindful to the footstep. And when you go to the street, people give you the food, you are mindful to pay respect and humbly accept the food with appreciation, not looking for the beauty, the aging, or the ugly, or what kind of food in your desire burning, like a hungry ghost looking for something. It's not like that. You need to really concentrate and observe everything by mindfulness, but not create the processing of the mental state. Not let the hindrance around the mind is processing. Oh yeah, that is how a monk go into the street and look for food. It's not only look for food, but meditation training. His mind is all the time in the awareness of the mindfulness training, until he come back to the hall and put down the arm. Then that kind of training is in a stop. The first time I learned how a monk come into the society and go along with the society, contact to the society, but his mind is pulled back to this concentration training and full of insight, not let his mind and body involve too much like a lay man. So he won't rush his mind. He is totally in the purification. So that arm for food in the sutra talking is life of purification. in this very short moment, just encourage a young monk want to take ordination and try to be a monastic in his own processing of mindfulness training and look for his own enlightenment. I want to see how far he can go in this very life, but no matter what, it is no regret there. It's a process. Any of the time and any of the way you can walk to as what you can go to. If you lost of the training, it will stuck there. Anytime that if you can go forward, just look for someone who can understand your language and tell them, oh, I want to go home. So that this life for me, I can't walk to the front anymore. I want to back to the home life. Then that is done. So back home is very easy in a monk life, but come into the training, challenging. Yeah. And ask you a lot of questions, and when you are in the monk life, it is a serious life, like a soldier come into the battlefield. So you need to wear the armor. In the cold weapon there, you wear a armor. That armor is called discipline. So you need to have a weapon. What is the weapon? That weapon is called mindfulness. So that you have a lot of enemy. What is the enemy? The enemy is sensual contact. All this is a challenging for your mind. So mind deliverance, unless you pull back to this very inner observation. Otherwise, when you let the mind go free, it becomes monkey. So I hope that novice come into the assembly, always stay with the elder before he become monkey. I stay with my master almost until his end of life. Even though after the master gone, but I'm still looking for elder as a good example to support my life, encourage to the practice. This is what I want to share with you all in the assembly here. Thank you.